yourself up on your feet. Let's get it on. Lift you. What you doing, cat? The book there is Indaba, My Children by Credo Mutwa, by Baba Credo Mutwa. You know, if you don't, you're gonna find out soon. So this is a few of some works he put pen to paper in English for us. These are entitled African Folk Tales, and this book has been out since the 90s. He has written several in his lifetime that are published in English to the world. I am sure there are many more in other languages of which I know not of. But this one I will read to you as I do. I hope you will enjoy when it begins. But for now, all those hearing my voice, you must go see and enjoy FANGS as soon as you reach Modesto. October 18th at the State Theater of Modesto. The world premiere. I hope you love it, because I know I will, and I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be so good. ONLY FANGS FANGS ONLY FANGS. Hope you enjoy it. It's all right too. Literally a fortnight away. Hope you caught my little meme. It was up earlier. I enjoyed that too. But I do look forward to this book. I look forward to reading this book with you. Indaba, My Children. Let's see here. I put a bookmark on it. So his last name title thing, Vuzamazulu, is his titular name there. Can't see it. There you are. There's the cover. Indaba, My Children. African Folk Tales. Credo Mutwa. A definitive compendium of African myth and folktale retold in rich, vibrant prose. Indaba, My Children is a stunning literary and ethnographic achievement. I have a little feather here for my bookmark today. As a young man, Vuzamazulu Credo Mutwa, Zulu from the South African province of Natal, was determined to follow in the footsteps of his grandfather and become a tribal historian. So you don't even need to read the back of this book. Watch any video that he has done in entirety, and you will have an excellent introduction to who he is. One thing about this book I think may tie into the series where we started talking about mind viruses as well as physical diseases and their interrelation here. In the prologue and introduction, there is something I think will matter to all of you who care about those things. I recently posted a clip of one of his conversations on alien involvement, reptilian involvement in a creation story for why humans, hey, can you help me? Undeniable motivation. Think you can help yourself? You're motivated, undeniably. All right, so in the prologue here is very short. The part that I think you will enjoy is the introduction. But the book itself starts off the contents list in one page and then proceeds to the second onto a character cast, which gives you a breakdown of some interrelations of characters, sometimes their ages, their jobs, to whom they are wed, if they have been or will be later, some roles that they play in society, as in the agitator, Lokota, Lokota, for example, people who are listed as daughters, gravedigger. Well, if anyone in the chat sees undeniable motivation and wants to help and investigate that concern, do so. Come see OnlyFangs, October 18th in Modesto at the State Theater. It's going to be great. This is the world premiere. Come and fly out and enjoy yourself. So the prologue, I will not read you the cast. I will not read you the contents list. I dedicate this book to Albert S. Watkinson, known to us as Becca Ponsi, the observant one who looks on the ground, and his wife, Ellen Watkinson, known to us as Ninqi, the one who shelters and protects many people, for their help, faith, and encouragement in making this book possible. Indaba, my children. Busamazulu Credo Mutwa, Grove Press, New York. GroveAtlantic.com. There are Tales of Africa, Folklore of Bantu-speaking peoples, Zulu, in quotes here, African people, folklore. Title GR360.B2M85 1999. If that matters to you, please use that. And if these codes here also matter to you, please use these. 98-3776 398.2 apostrophe 049639 double dash DC 21. So I hope that gives you some information about the printing of this book, where to find it, how it was done. It is considered a work of genius by the Sunday Times in Johannesburg. So Credo Mutwa is a South African elder who is an incredible person, an incredible mind, and a credit to the human race across the planet. I hope you enjoy his works wherever you may find them. This is one of them. We're on page 42. Here are some imagery from the book. The coming of the second people, or thy ordeal, O Amarava. Behold the survivors. Symbol of life often found in prehistoric Bantu cave paintings, the tree that was in the center. Symbol of the tree of life, as featured in Indabele, as featured in Indabele pottery and beadwork. That was the one on your right. That looks like an arrowhead into a platform. And the one on the far right, just birds, lizards, holding up some kind of vase or flower shape. Carved ebony bowl, early Congo, symbolizing the tree of life, nourishing and spawning animals. Top shaped like a flower, hollow, charred from many offerings. Watkinson's collection of antique Bantu carvings. The postscript that leads into this. Indaba, let us pause here, O my children, and reflect most seriously upon the rather lengthy legends we have heard. It is said, briefly, that the Great Spirit has created the universe for reasons that nobody must endeavor to fathom. The Great Spirit used a being called the First Goddess who worked as a tool under his directions. In answer to a request, she was granted as a companion a weird kind of being, half plant and half animal. The Tree of Life. Okay, so this is the postscript here. I will jump around to tell you, because I didn't tell you yet, where the bookmark was left here earlier when I browsed through. I was on page 416, 417 in the Hail to Thee, O Maiegawana story. Maiegawana. It's in the center of that story there. It's one of the longer ones. And less pictograms for you to enjoy. So we'll start here back at the postscript here. Can I comment on my own stuff? Let's see. All right, gang. We're just typing that up. Let's see how much I can type here. Oh, yeah. It's about to get typed. All right, back to the book here. Indaba, let us pause here, O my children, and reflect most seriously upon the rather lengthy legends we have learned. It is said briefly, the Great Spirit has created the universe for reasons that nobody must endeavor to fathom. The Great Spirit used a being called the First Goddess who worked as a tool under his directions. In answer to a request, she was granted as a companion a weird kind of being, half plant and half animal, the Tree of Life. This Tree of Life is the most revered deity throughout Bantu Africa even today. Numerous representative designs are engraved on clay pots, burnt on wooden spoons, trays, and other vessels. It is also frequently depicted in all kinds of ornamental carvings in ebony, ivory, and mahogany. We have here, let's see, can we move this on the screen? There we go. Do respond to the poll. I will be giving away 10 tickets to go see it. So make sure you go see it. Numerous representative designs are engraved on clay pots, burnt on wooden spoons, trays, and other vessels. It is also frequently depicted in all kinds of ornamental carvings, in ebony, ivory, and mahogany. Some of these designs are illustrated in the accompanying figures. So the ones I already showed you. The Indaba tribes of the Transvaal are the most fanatical worshippers of the Tree of Life, south of the Zambezi. The Zulus, too, are strong believers in this deity, but some interpret it. Come on up. I don't know what to do for you, Berry Berry. But some interpret it as a huge hollow reed rather than a tree. But some interpret it as a huge hollow reed rather than the tree. They call it Ulanga Luezizwe, which means reed of all nations. We then came to Zaharelel, Tasareli or Sareleli, ZA-HA-RRELLEL, TSARELLELI, or SARELLELI, to most tribes today. So Hazarelel, Sareleli, or Sareleli, who was said to have been responsible for the infection of all mankind with mental diseases like ambition and the love for all the wicked things that mostly ensue from it, including bloodshed. The main reason why the Africans used to destroy crippled and otherwise deformed children was to prevent this fabled tyrant from ever becoming reborn or reincarnated to spread his evil and dangerous knowledge amongst men once more. Many of the mighty cliffs of Zululand and the Transkei stand today as dumb witnesses of many sacrifices of deformed children that have been made in the course of time. This is serious. I don't think anybody that picks this up would know what was inside here at all. The coming of the second people. So we thank Credo Mutwa for writing these down. Thank you very much. The coming of the second people, or thy ordeal, O Omarava. Behold the survivors. Like the rest of the first Amorite people, the beautiful Amarava was immortal and could live forever. Sorry, the first Amarire, Amarire people. Like the rest of the first Amarari. You tell me how to say it. I'm not from Zululand. Amarire people. The beautiful Amarava was immortal and could live forever, unless deliberately stabbed with a spear or devoured by a ferocious beast. But unlike the rest of the Amarire people, she had not become sterile, nor had she lost the power of walking and running. So for some reason, they became sterile, couldn't walk, couldn't run. She had not become sterile, nor had she lost the power of walking and running in the world of floating mats and sleds. Who knows where that is? The world of floating mats and sleds. Again, we skipped to page 42, so we'll have to go back and see what that place is. Except, of course, those subhuman beings which Zaharelel, the emperor, had created. In that glittering, fantastic world of the obese, where even yawning had become a strenuous thing, Amarava stood alone like a full-hipped, heavy-breasted, narrow-waisted goddess amongst so many bloated, sterile, and depraved swine. People laughed at her and called her barbarian, a crude and uncivilized atavism. Let's see here. Who would have been cast off the floating golden city to live in a cave like the savage she was. But Amarava, whose name was later corrupted by the Bantu to Mamiravi or Mamerafe, Mamerafe, the so-called mother of nations, Amarava, heeded none of all this ridicule. She contented herself with composing, singing songs in which she bitterly derided her people with their hollow, meaningless, depraved, and selfish civilization. When the emperor Hazarelel massed his metal beasts for his most disastrous attack on the tree of life, Amarava stood alone in the doorway of her humble silver hut and watched with horror and deep fascination as the clanking hordes of iron grasshoppers and huge bronze poisonous scorpions thundered by on their way to the Great Square. Great Square is a capitalized location. This is a proper place. Like the rest of the Amarire, she already knew the purpose of those myriads of robot insects and just what they were intending to attack. As she stood there, a cloud of horrible apprehension darkened the pure blue skies of her virgin soul. "Oh no," she whispered. "Oh, great Hazat. Oh, this is a different guy. Oh, great Zaharelel. Now with this, you are going too far. She said, oh no, oh great. Look, this is bogus. She said, this is bogus. All right. Then, sick at heart, she turned and commanding the door to close, she dropped on her silver floating mat and soon fell fast asleep. She was awakened by a torrent of the most dreadful sounds she had ever heard. In her very many years of life, wild shrieks of incredible agony were mingled with growls and ululations of savage triumph, and it felt as though the entire city was pitching on waves of fantastic proportions. Amarava leapt off her floating mat, at the same time calling to her short green skirt of a second class citizen to wrap itself around her hips. So it's kind of like the cape that, what's his name? He's not Captain America. The guy that the British guy plays, and he has the magic suit, and he plays an American actor. And he plays an American comic book character, Doctor Strange. So she has a green skirt like Doctor Strange's cape. She was awakened by a torrent of the most dreadful sounds she had ever heard. In her very many years of life, wild shrieks of incredible agony were mingled with growls and ululations of savage triumph, and it felt as though the entire city was pitching on waves of fantastic proportions. Amarava leapt off her floating mat, at the same time calling to her short green skirt of a second-class citizen to wrap itself around her hips. The apparently living cloth obeyed, and the red girl leapt through the door of her hut, only to leap back with greater speed, as a heavy spear from a gnarling Bajayuni female, Bajayuni female, BJAAUNI female, hummed past her head and rebounded with a clash. We already know this is the only way she can get killed. One of two ways. From the polished silver wall of her hut. A mob of ferocious Bujayuni came running towards her hut, brandishing bloody axes and swords, and the prostrate girl with horror noticed that each one was messing around with an Amurari head. These they threw like stones at those who were trying to escape on their flying mats. Jesus Christ. None of the missiles was missing its target. This is horrible. And with screams, they plunged back to earth. This is horrible. Even before they reached the ground, they were impaled on awaiting spears. A huge Bajayuni, whose body was crisscrossed with many scars from countless death duels in Zaharlel's arenas, and who seemed to be the leader of the mob, reached the crouching, terrified Amarava first. He seized her by one leg and lifted her up, like a small boy would lift a mouse by its tail, and was about to plunge his sword through her body when a blinding flash of unearthly silver light and a shattering, glittering voice rang out from nowhere. No, not her. Put that female down. Slowly, the hulking savage laid Amarava down on the floor and fell on his horny knees before the awful silvery apparition, dominatingly towering over him. The rest of the Bajayuni mob fled to the center of the city to seek more victims to butcher. When her vision returned, Amarava saw the most terrifying sight of her life. Towering above her prostrate form was a luminous, silvery giantess, standing higher than the highest towers of the city. The doomed city of Amak Harabeti, AMAK-HARABETI. This giantess looked down at her, and also the prostrate Bajayuni male with flashing golden eyes from which a strange pity seemed to radiate. Four heavy emerald-tipped breasts quivered, and she opened her mouth and spoke. All are doomed to die, O Amarava. All are doomed to die, O Amarava. Tough to say. Here, enjoy this cat. We're on page 47. And soon we return to Indaba, my children. I watched a man say, "This is actually how you open a book." And he peels back 20% of the pages, back to front, until he reaches the center. He says that keeps some of the pages from getting ripped out. Amarava sprang to her feet and leapt over the groveling. What is happening here? Okay, we need to go back to the last page. All are doomed to die, O Amarava. But I shall see to it that you are spared. Who are you? Gasped the breathless Amarava. I am Ninavan Huma, the first goddess, the wife of the tree of life. Ninavanhu-Ma. Amarava sprang to her feet and leapt over the groveling Bajayuni, who was moaning with fear, with his ugly face buried in his hands. Ma, mother of men, great goddess. So the legends are right. All along they've been right, shrieked the Amarire girl with tears in her eyes. Forgive me, oh forgive our sacrilege, great one. Forgive, oh forgive, and spare thy misled children. Spare the misguided Amarire. Spare us, O goddess. Crystal tears welled from the golden eyes of the great mother Ma and fell like raindrops on the blood-stained streets of the dying city. A sob shook her tall silver form, and slowly, as if struck by some deadly unseen missile, the goddess sagged to the ground. Above her, lightning ripped like flaming my eyeballs. Assegaze. Assegaise. Assegay. I'm not French. Through the growling rain, pregnant clouds and a howling wind roared through the golden streets on which lay scattered dead bodies in heaps like fish in a fisherman's boat. The great goddess knelt before the startled girl, a shimmering form of living silver that reflected the golden domes of the domed city like in the mirror of bronze or a pool in the bowls of some deep forest. Her radiant hands clasped the tiny Amarava, and she writhed and cried out in agony. Then the tip of a silvery finger, she touched both the I'm not reading that, bro. That sounds gross. I'm skipping that part. So she kissed her tummy. She's like groveling now. She says she's going to bear the new races of men who shall in due course roam this earth. You are the only Amarire I'll spare. You and you alone shall survive this Holocaust. I wish I could have spared a great deal more of my children, but I cannot, as a power greater than myself. Girl, this book is crazy. Bids me to save only you from all the red people. A power greater than myself bids me to also save Odu, the subhuman here, for he shall be your mate. Ew! That's gross! And the father of future races. Amarava stared horrified. Yeah, I'm horrified for her. Horrified. Down at the subhuman man and a flood of unimaginable contempt, hatred, and naked revulsion swept and overwhelmed her completely. Surely the goddess was not giving her the beautiful Amarava to this smelly, hideous thing for a mate. Surely she was Amarava, daughter of the first red people, was not being mated to this odorous, revolting, soulless beast, this beast of burden the emperor created from putrid animal flesh. Ill. The scream left the girl's mouth in repulsive horror. Yeah, I bet. She cried and begged to be killed outright rather than be wedded to this contemptuous of a thing, as Odu the Bajayuni, the lowest of the low. My child, said the goddess above her howling storm, forget your childish feelings and obey my commands. Yeah, right. No. Yeah, right. This is crazy. She's about to ditch her. Yo, she's getting like zamped or something. They're all in a cult. And she heard some voice through the sky. And now she's obeying this monarchy. She took the oath, I swear to obey. This sucks. I shall now create a robot shark to transport you across the seas, and there you shall find new land, which the earthquake has left in peace. There you and Odu here shall love each other and once again repopulate the earth with men. No, thank you. But since I can fathom your stubbornness, I am forced to take measures to see you obey. She burned her a bunch of times. And she said if she breaks her oath, all the burns will like hurt her really bad. This is terrible. This lady sucks. Nina Van Huma sucks. And so does the Great Spirit sucks too. Then the goddess diverted her attention to Odu, who cringed in animal fear at her feet. This creature forlorn, neither man nor beast, greatly moved the compassionate goddess to pity. But as she extended her hand to the man-made soulless thing, he uttered a hoarse scream of undiluted terror and shrank back, gibbering like a hypnotized ape, which in features he so closely resembled. Odu, spoke the goddess sharply. Look up and listen to me, I command. The Odu raised his revolting apology for a face. He's hideous. They called his face a revolting apology for a face. Groping soullessly with deep-set, bloodshot eyes. Blah, blah, blah. He can barely speak. He's told to take care of her, of Amavara, and repopulate the world. Gross. Odu's animal mind could not grasp all this, but he humbly indicated agreement, faithful slave as he was. For once in his artificial life, he tried to think for himself, but became much more confused than he ever was. His bulking body was quaking with pure terror, and he felt the urge to escape as fast and as far as his massive legs could carry him, but knew he had killed Zaharalel, the big one of the hated masters, and very many other Amarire. But he was only completely puzzled as not being punished for all he did. On the contrary, now he is lovingly asked to take care of the last survivor. The goddess suddenly conjured a massive net into which she bundled both terrified creatures. On regaining their senses, they were clinging to each other as they plunged through the waves on a robot fish. The giant city capsized and sank behind them. Both onward dashed, but onward dashed the artificial fish through restless waves, plowing a foaming path to safety beyond the horizon. The sea was still filthy, having just devoured whole continents and millions of beasts and men, cruel and restless and still scalding hot, while above the clouds continued to grumble, vomiting forth bolt after bolt of thunderous lightning. Almavar cried out as the realization struck her that well and truly she was the last living human being. For 3 whole days she cried without ceasing, while forward they sped through the seas, now slowly calming. This sucks. Night fell and the moon smiled weakly upon a destructed earth. Dancing waves turned to liquid silver, and still the great fish went on, eastward and eastward without a pause. The sun rose in all its torrid splendor. The Song of Day, which is a proper title here, Song of Day, whispered a wordless melody over guilty waters and naked mountains. swept clean of animal and human life. Now and again, Amarava saw rocks rearing above the foaming waters. All that were left of a continent she knew, now drowned beneath the passionate seas. Amavara lost count of the number of days that floated by like migrating birds, and was conscious only of the weakness she felt in both her body and soul. She felt like a plant which had lost its roots, like driftwood on the waters of time. Naked and helpless in a mad universe, she wept till she wept no more. Loud within the vaults of her mind was the thought that she would, rather, loud within the thoughts of her mind was the thought that the world she had known and loved, for she knew no better, was dead forever. And future loomed as an ugly ghost. The poem of Amarire has been chanted through to this very last verse, and now the drums of fate are sounding the beginning of yet another poem. The parent's plant had withered and died, but from its mound. Hello? What is this? So, okay, so since we skipped ahead, we have to go backwards. Some of this is apparently all continuity. Hence, this book, we're still skipping, but this is the introduction. We're skipping backwards. You cannot fight an evil disease with sweet medicine, is the saying popular among us witch doctors, and one cannot hope to cure a putrid malady like interracial hatred and misunderstanding by mincing words. So I warn readers that they are in for a nasty shock. This is not a book for people who prefer hypocrisy to fact. In this book, the love of life of many African tribes will be openly and frankly discussed. Whoa, not the love of life. In this book, the love life of many African tribes will be openly and frankly discussed, as will their religious beliefs, their crafts, and so forth. Okay, so we need to read this introduction because this is crazy. Like, this is too intense for me. I can't take it. I had to eat ice cream. To try to read this. I'm losing it. All right. In later chapters, you will read about the African peoples of the present time, their strange and varied reactions to civilization, and also what they think about events in Africa today of 1997. You will read about many things that have been deliberately withheld from the world, things that are common knowledge to all African people within the shores of this continent. In offering this information to the world, I do not claim it to be the last word, the book to end all books. I intend this book to be the forerunner of many more to come, and one to pave the way for other African writers, some of whom may have amassed much more knowledge of our fatherlands in this course of their lives than I have done. As I also said at the outset, the second most important purpose of the book is to shatter many fallacies that have become accepted as facts through the years, for the simple reason that no one has ever questioned their accuracy or dared to give the other side of the story. For instance, the fact in the case of the killing of the white Vortrekker Piet Retief, Retief, by the Zulu king Dingaza, which I shall disclose in a subsequent chapter. Okay, we'll look forward to that, I guess. In order... Hey, where are you? I heard you sneezing. Hey. I see you. You tasted all the plants? You're sneezing. Wow. Credo spent time in Rhodesia. Okay, we're skipping ahead again. Well, we're skipping backwards a little bit. In order to best understand this book, the reader should be given a glimpse into the life of the author. I am a native of South Africa, a Zulu from the province of Natal. My father is a former Catholic catechist from the turbulent district of Embo, E-M-B-O, in the south of Natal, N-A-T-A-L. My mother, Nomambunu, N-O-M-A-B-U-N-A, Nomabunu, is the daughter of Ziko Shezi, Zikoshezi, an Induna and veteran of the Battle of Ulundi, which ended the Zulu War. He was also a confirmed High Witch Doctor, proper title, High Witch Doctor, HIGH, and a custodian of the relics of our tribe and guardian of our tribe's history. Because my mother, a heathen, quote, refused to be converted to Christianity, my parents parted just after I was born. I grew up under the protection of my grandfather and was initiated as his attendant, who carried his medicine bags for him, thus sharing some of his forbidden secrets. In 1928, my father came and asked permission of my grandfather to take me away, and because of my being an illegitimate child and therefore a disgrace to the Ziko's family, my grandfather, Ziko himself, agreed, despite my mother's protests. My father and stepmother, their 3 children, and I came to the Transvaal, Transvaal, in the middle of the same year. We lived on a farm beyond Potchefstroom, Potchefstroom. My father being a laborer there, and it was here in 1932 that my stepbrother, Hey. Nope. No baby zone. I need to sit there. You want to see Mocha Chica? Mocha Chiku Machu Picchu? Michihano Wanabana? Machu Picchu. Pika Machu. Pichuman. Machu-chan. Okay. It was here in 1932 in Potchefstroom that my stepbrother Emmanuel died after being whipped by the farmer, my father's employer, under circumstances which are best left undisclosed. Oh my God. For the next 20 years, we lived on different farms, and then lastly, at the mine where my father still works today as a carpenter. So his dad was still alive in 1997, working on a farm as a carpenter in the southern suburbs of Johannesburg. In 1954, I found myself employment in one of Johannesburg's leading curio shops, a shop specializing in African art, except for 6 months when I was working in a pottery firm. I have been employed there ever since. Being an amateur artist of sorts, I have traveled quite widely in this country of my birth, with Catholic priests, first with Catholic priests in 1946 or 1948, and then with my present employer in 1958. So that's when he's been traveling. On returning from Rhodesia that year, I visited my mother and grandfather in Zululand. After more than 30 years, at their command, I renounced Christianity and underwent the ceremony of purification in order to begin training as a witch doctor, and also in preparation for assuming the post of custodian of our sacred tribal relics. That's what's up. In the event of my grandfather's death, I have now completed my training as a medicine man, and I have gained a lot of knowledge that I shall lay out in this book. That's what's up. In March 1960, a young Basuto woman whom I loved and hoped to wed in place of my present faithless spouse, was among those who died when police fired on the crowd at Sharpsville near Vereeniging, 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 on the night before she was to be buried. Her parents, her brother, her 2 sisters, and 3 of their children cut off tufts of their hair and threw them into her still open coffin, swearing to avenge her if it took them 1,000,000 years, even if they should die in doing so. I took what's called a chief's great blood oath, cutting my vein in my hand, the left one, and letting 10 drops of blood flow into one of the gaping bullet wounds that defiled her dark brown slender body, swearing to the world that the truth about the Bantu people and so many, swearing to the world that the truth about the Bantu people and so save many of my countrymen so save many of my country the agony of the bereavement we felt. Ooh, I swore to do this, come imprisonment, torture, or death, and even if the very fires of hell or the cold eternal darkness stood in my way. This book is only the beginning of the fulfillment of my oath, an oath whose keeping has become the only purpose of my intolerable life, and which will still be binding on my children and their children's children. So the next generation, his grandson, it is on his children, and it is on his children's children. The grandson takes care of that historical outdoor museum called it might have been called Credo Town or something in that last recent post I did. Go to the actual post section. It's not a video that I put out. No! Drop a piece of chocolate, buddy. You're so beautiful. I love you. Okay. So March 1960, he almost had a wife. She passed away from police brutality. Okay. So even if this manuscript is destroyed, I shall write others' works like this until one of them gets published, even be it after my death. Book 1, the bud slowly opens. This I choose. Oh, give me not the strident demon wail of penny whistle and tea-chest guitar, nor give me tales of those who rode the trail deep into the west of far America. Oh, not for me the songs and nonsense tales that thrill the modern rabble rout, who leaving far behind their tribal values with traitor zest ape culture from without, rather than the modern crooner's foreign voice or the loud howls of modern township jive. I shall leave far behind the maddening noise and hurry home where tribal elders live. There, neath baobabs or flat-topped munga trees, where nestling birds with many tongues argue, and flaming aloes bless the smiling breeze with heady scent, and where the distant view of scowling mountains gainst a silver sigh with dread and reverence fill the misled eye. Where on the gentle slopes of ancient hills, where browse the bearded goats, the sheep, the shambling cows, and loud above his lowing wives the bulls, with awful bellow dares the distant foe. And there I shall sit before Ubabamkulu, who shall relate to me the tales of yore. There I shall kneel before the old Gegulu, and hear legends of those that lived before. There I shall live in spirit once again in those great days now gone forevermore, and see again upon the timeless plain the massed impi of so long ago. The words of men long dead shall reach my soul from the dark depths of all-consuming time, which like a multi shall inflame my whole, like a multi M-U-T-I, shall inflame my whole, WHOLE, and guide my life's canoe to shores sublime. Clear with the soul's time-penetrating eye, I shall see great empires rise, flourish, and die. I shall see deeds of courage or of shame now carved forever on the drum of fame. Proper noun again, drum of fame. With Shaka's legions I shall march again, a puppet knowing neither joy nor fear, which trained to kill heeds neither wound nor pain, and knows no other's love save for its spear. I shall feel once again the searing heat of love in hearts that have long ceased to pulse, and with Mukanda, Mukanda, shall captain the fleet of war canoes and storm Zima Mjeb's walls. Zima-MBJE. It's a location. Here in these stories, still told by the old, I feel the soul and heartbeat of my race, which I cannot in tales by strangers told, TALES. For those within my heart I have no place. The trees grow well and strong, O children mine, that hath his roots deep in the native earth. So honor always thy ancestral line and traditions of thy land of birth. This I choose by Credo Mutwa. We are now on page 5 in Indaba, my children. See here. The sacred story of the tree of life, the self-created. No stars were there, no sun, neither moon nor earth. Nothing existed but darkness itself, a darkness everywhere. Nothing existed but nothingness, a nothingness neither hot nor cold, dead nor alive, a nothingness far worse than nothing, and frightening in its utter nothingness. For how long this nothingness lasted, no one will ever know, and why there was nothing but nothing is something we must never try to learn. For how long this nothingness lasted, no one will ever know, and why there was nothing but nothing is something we must never try to learn. Nothingness had been floating for no one knows how long, upon the invisible waters of time, that mighty river with neither source nor mouth, which was, which is, and ever shall be. Then one day, or is it right to say one day, the river time desired nothingness, like a flesh and blood male beast desires his female partner. And as a result of this strangest mating of time and nothingness, a most tiny, nigh invisible spark of living fire was born. This tiny, so tiny spark of fire could think and grew conscious of its lonely state. No one nor nothing could hear its cries. In the lonely depths of utter nothingness, like forlorn a babe lost and in despair in a cold, dark forest, I exist, I am what I am, was the living thought that burst through the mind of the tiny spark, and as it wildly flew through the dark, trying to flee from where there was no escape, trying to evade the lifeless, empty, dark, and utter nothingness. It was like a tiny firefly lost in a dark cave beneath the berg, from where it could never escape. I must either grow or end my life. Thought the spark as long, hello, thought the spark as long, long last. If nothingness wishes to engulf me in my present size and state, then I must increase my size till I equal that of nothingness. I know this story. There was nothing for the spark to feed upon and grow, so it fed upon itself, and grew in size until it was at last its mother nothingness became aware of its unwelcome presence and decided to destroy it. Yeah, I know this story. Nothingness at first had tried to smother it in darkness, which is the enemy of light. But the spark resisted brighter and became yet brighter. Then nothingness cast a spell of cold upon the spark, cold, a deadly foe of heat, but this induced the spark to grow, only hotter and yet more hot. The living spark did grow, and grew until at last it equaled nothingness in size, and to sustain itself, proceed with growth, it devoured its mother nothingness and digested her. With the most awful flash of light that anything or anyone had ever chanced to see, I am what I am, it boasted. The river time was very cross with what the spark had done, and quickly sent the spirit cold to fight the spark outright. A mighty battle soon ensued, in which the spark, now a universe roaring flame, which filled the sky with many soaring tongues, tried to melt Cold's spirit and devour it to complete. While Cold in his icy
Spirit blew its cold, wet breath into the flame, but it only turned a portion of the flame into into cold, white ash. But it only turned a portion of the flame into cold, white ash. And this ferocious battle, which started so long ago, today still rages unabating and yet proceed till time shall cease to flow. Hi, Lady Cat. You can come over. Can you find some space? There's space for you. You can make it. Lady Bear, come over. Here. Step on my hand. You're doing just fine. Come over. Can I take you? I can't take you. All right. Got my ice cream. Do you got ice cream? I scream, you scream, we all scream for OnlyFans. I can't wait. If you're in Modesto, please go. Enjoy it for me in case I don't arrive. Okay, back to our book here. Indaba, My Children Roam, page 7. My ice cream! I gotta eat it. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Haagen-Dazs. Mm-hmm. 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 Damn, son, where'd you find this? Holy moly, well, damn, that's good. You know, I really like tagliatelle noodles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love you, Bear. You're wonderful. Ow, ow, ow. Please. Thank you, beautiful. I love Baroque music because it's literally just metal. It's so metal. I couldn't pretend it's not.